Well, after the kind of weird success of my R. Kelly video, I decided to talk about another crazy R&B singer. And of course, I'm talking about Jussie Smollett. Have you ever heard the phrase, truth is stranger than fiction? I think this might apply in this case, because this story is just so weird, I don't see how somebody can just make all that up. We're going to be watching Jussie himself talk about this incident, and so, here we go. Let's see what Jussie has to say.
We're gonna do one more song. I didn't know if I was properly really allowed to say anything. Because there's a lot that I haven't been able to say. There's a lot that I haven't been able to say. But there's a couple.
Well, lay it on us, Jussie.
Just because there's been a lot of stuff that has been said about me that's absolutely not true. And so I feel like I'm sure my lawyer's sitting up there like, no, Jussie, no.
Okay, that's a little weird. Wouldn't you, be on the same team as your lawyer? Wouldn't you clear this sort of stuff with him before addressing this audience? I mean, it's not like Madison Square Garden or something. It's probably 100, maybe 200, 300 people in the audience. But still, if you're gonna make a public statement, I feel like consulting with your attorney is probably a smart move.
No, shut the fuck up and sing. Daryl, I'm sorry. There's just a couple of points that I wanted to make really quick.
Okay, a couple of points. Here we go.
Just because it's 4 points. My little sister is literally like Olivia Pope, like she's in the back. I was bruised, but my ribs were not cracked.
I'm sure there's tons of hyperbole going around. People want to make this seem like it's way more serious. His first point is something you would say if you're trying to lower the tension a little bit. Let's hear these next couple of points.
Not broken. I went to the doctor immediately. Frank Gatson drove me. I was not hospitalized.
Point number 2. He was obviously able to perform the very next week at the Troubadour.
Both my doctors in LA and Chicago cleared me to perform, but said to take care, obviously. And above all, I fought the fuck back.
Well, if you did actually fight back, then it sounds less like an assault and less like a hate crime, and it sounds more like just a scuffle, like a fight. But either way, good for you, dude. You fought back. I hope you bopped him right on the nose, and yeah, hopefully you didn't rough him up too badly.
I'm the gay Tupac.
The gay Tupac? Really, dude? I don't really think that's your image, man. You're a smooth R&B singer. The furthest thing from Tupac in a musical sense. I don't think I've ever heard you rap, and Empire is a show about hip-hop. But alright, man, if you want to be Tupac, go ahead. More power to you. Here we go, Tupac. I can't say it enough times because I don't want y'all to get the wrong idea from this video. I love Jussie Smollett, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip the song. So when the song is getting ready to finish, Jussie decides to get a little bit more extreme with his rhetoric. Let's hear what he has to say in closing.
Good night, John.
Alright, so it's a little hard to hear him over that amazing drummer. Now all of a sudden we're bringing identity stuff into it. As if, that's the real narrative here. That's the big picture. How else are you supposed to interpret that? Now, there's nothing, wrong or negative about that message, but taken in context with how the media is portraying this, sort of unnecessarily hyping up tensions, causing people to look inward, causing people to get stuck on their skin color. So it's kind of like tacitly implying that that's somehow wrong. It's somehow bad to be black or gay or something. Like, it's not. Like, dude, I'm sorry. It's 2019. I don't see the point of it. Like, you should have just left it at the gay Tupac thing. That would have been fine. All right, and again, we've cranked it up a couple notches here. Is this like a new thing that I'm not aware of, to be like black and gay? Like, to me, that's just not new. It's not necessarily something that you're proud of. I mean, you can be okay with it, you can be cool with it, but like, be proud of your accomplishments. Be proud of your goals. Everybody's so proud to be a person of color. But are you a person of character? Let's just listen to this drummer for a couple seconds. Check him out. Woo! So that was his statement. I like a lot of what he said. It just seems to me that he missed a chance here to quell the tensions, calm the seas, and bring people together. And here's the thing, like, Jussie Smollett is not just another dude. He's a celebrity. It sucks, but you have a higher standard. You know, I'm not just hearing what he says and taking it at face value. I'm paying attention to how he phrases things, his tone, his body language, as well as things that he chooses not to say. So all of you out there, I would have to ask you, WWJD, what would Jamal do? He'd be careful not to stir up unnecessary conflict. He'd be eager to peaceably diffuse tensions. But here's Jussie going over the top with identity nonsense, racial nonsense, LGBT nonsense. And I just feel like he missed an opportunity. He missed a chance to really break from the script and talk about something other than racism and LGBT. You know, you're welcome to tell TMZ whatever you like. But again, you're supposed to be representing the Fox network. You're supposed to be representing the millions of people in its audience. All of the fans of Empire that watch season after season after season. This aspect of the guys, you know, yelling MAGA and being Trump supporters, and you know the way people are on social media. Like, it's like a game of telephone. Each time the story gets reshared and retweeted, like, it's gonna get crazier and crazier and crazier. So we've gone from, you know, two random guys in ski masks to, oh, well, now they were definitely white. You know, they're wearing the red Trump hats, and it has to, like, get this Trump bump because what? Like, do you feel like it's not that crazy of a story in and of itself? Like, you know, that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible story. By painting these guys as Trump supporters, you're like saying that half of the country that voted for Donald Trump, like, is in favor of attacking Jussie Smollett. And it's not true. I just don't see that. I just don't see most people being in favor of violence. But I think playing into this, you know, be proud, be black, be gay, I just think it's skin deep, it's shallow, it's coastal Hollywood elites, people that are totally out of touch with the common people because they feel guilty that they have millions of dollars, so they talk about this stuff to make themselves look virtuous. Jussie is just another celebrity who thinks spouting divisive radical politics is more important than having integrity. I just think people are burnt out on all this rage bait garbage, this Twitter nonsense with celebrities ganging up on high school kids. Like, when are we all gonna start calling out both sides, giving people a third option? Jussie's character on the show Empire, he doesn't fit into these neat little boxes that his family wants to put him in, his record label wants to put him in. He's got a mind of his own. He's got plans of his own, goals and dreams of his own. He's a relatable character, but not because of his blackness or his gayness. I relate to Jamal because of how he deals with his identity, how he chooses to act, his behavior, his swag, how he deals with his conflicts with Lucius, his struggle to prove he's a man to Cookie, his moments of self-reflection and careful planning, in contrast to some of the other more impulsive, emotionally unpredictable characters. Jamal always comes off as grounded, steadfast. That's important. That's relatable. You being gay is just a plot point. What I would have liked Jussie to talk about is, I got attacked by these guys. They were wearing masks. You know, they said something about MAGA, but I really don't know for sure what race they were. They could have been trolling. I don't want to stir up any tensions or any hatred against any group of people. So something like that would have been really refreshing to hear. But instead, you're doing the opposite. You're doubling down on this like one-sided narrative. We have the racist, sexist boogeyman invading everybody's consciousness once again. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I don't think everybody fits into these groups. I certainly don't. We got people saying that he's definitely lying. We got people saying that he's definitely telling the truth. And not only that, but it's an implication that society is this way or that way. Therefore, by taking one side over the other, instead of going outside of the box, Jussie is being partisan. He's basically happy to be part of the problem. Not that him being black or gay is a problem. It's not. It's not controversial. It's not a statement. It's the problem here is the eradication of reasonable dialogue, the destruction of our culture, the destruction of what we have in common decency, common courtesy, common sense, all the things that we should value above skin deep stuff. So I'm not going to ramble on and on forever about this, but I did want to look at some other things here. I try not to do a lot of speculating. I like to base what I'm saying in reality, in objective, observable evidence. So the question I keep coming back to is why? Essentially, Jussie is kind of helping TMZ create a bunch of negative press. They all know as soon as they take a side and they've put it out there onto the internet, all the other little people on the other little sides see it, then they're going to start putting in their 2 cents. And therefore, you have like comments, he made it all up, he heals fast, the scratch is gone already, oh, you take one look at him and know he's lying. So you have all the other people here. Everybody else is looking at this and saying, you know what, I just don't believe it. They're going to be trying to prove you wrong. Here's one example of that. So they will pursue a case against Jussie if it turns out that he filed a false police report. So again, now to me, this is more proof that he didn't make it up entirely, because that's a lot to risk. That's a lot to put on the line. And there's all the beautiful Waves plugins right here. I'd love to see that. I don't think he would make this up. I don't think he would go through all this hassle just on a fake story. So what in the world is the reason this guy goes to TMZ? Why go with this narrative? He claims that it's racist, anti-gay. See, this kind of stuff, that's what I'm talking about. It just makes it kind of annoying. Like, do we really need to go there on every single issue? I mean, look at that face. How could you not want to have a non-consensual romantic relation with a face like that? But I have another article, and this is based in a lot more reality than everybody else just speculating and making up a bunch of nonsense about this. All right, so this is about bad reviews. This is basically bad publicity, right? So studies have consistently shown that negative news hurts sales. So this is overall, but every so often exceptions emerge, okay? So this little bit of research says that under certain circumstances, even terrible publicity can bolster the bottom line. So here's the result of the study on bad publicity. For books by relatively unknown authors, newcomers, fresh faces, young cats, bad reviews cause sales to rise by an average of 45%. That's a pretty substantial rise, more than the good reviews that we talked about earlier. This held even when the criticism was extreme. So after one particularly scathing review, sales more than quadrupled. By making consumers aware of a book they would otherwise not know about, even the harshest review can be a boon. For purveyors of obscure products that get poor assessments, this is good news, suggesting that product awareness often lingers after the memory of the bad evaluation fades. So if we apply this to Jussie's situation, even if he totally made this story up, over time, people are going to be more aware of Jussie. So there's a few different forces here that are providing a soft landing for this story, regardless of how it turns out. If the negative publicity seems likely to increase brand awareness. Smaller or unknown brands would often do better to let it go. They might also consider undertaking potentially controversial moves to increase their visibility. If a risky tactic gets a bad response, the attention might nevertheless increase product recognition and ultimately boost sales. Are we talking about Jussie selling more CDs and increasing his stream revenue? Are we talking about Empire getting better ratings? Well, only time will tell. It's going to end up working to the advantage of Fox and Empire, even in the worst case scenario. So this is a perfect example of how tragedy and hardship and hate is a monetizable commodity. It is more valuable than gold in 2019. Shaun King is very good at raising money in support of Black lives. One of those lives might be his own. Well, that was kind of a weird way to start this. King collected millions of dollars for everyone, from Haitian orphans to the families of black men and children killed by police across America. Some of that money went to survivors of victims' families, but much of the largesse, SAT word for y'all right there, the vast majority either went into failed projects, King's own pockets, or is unaccounted for into King's own pockets. So people have this weird habit of trying to stand up for the common good and try to solve all these problems and fight against inequality and all of this stuff. At the end of the day, we have Jussie Smollett. He's a good guy, but he's getting lost in this spiral of insanity. So I guess my take is kind of a black pill. The world is super twisted. Jussie got a taste of it, and I think he's stuck in this political hamster wheel that keeps churning out more hate, more division on a daily basis. I don't know about you, but I don't have the luxury of tons of time to talk about my skin color. I just don't think it's controversial to talk about your sexual preferences in 2019. It's just not. LGBT folks have no more subdivisions of people to represent. It's their job to defend all of the people who they decide can't defend themselves. The dude got in a fight with some dudes. I just don't think this is the story that's the hill you want to die on. I just don't think this represents the struggle of the oppressed poor people who just want to do good and they always get snookered. You're playing into this obvious trap that the higher-up elites have set for you. Now that you're in the fray, you're under their control. They can do whatever they want with you, Jussie. So if at some point you finally realize that identity politics sucks regardless of your race, and then you speak out against it, they can shut you down faster than a bum throws bleach. At the end of the day, I believe Jussie. I think he's trying to do the right thing, but he seems to be sadly misguided. It's just a disappointment, because I've loved Empire since season 1. One thing I hate the most is when these shows get overtly political. It's I want to watch Empire to see Lucius shoot some people and make some millions of dollars and steal some paintings or something. I want to see Hakeem wearing these huge chains and rapping and amazing musical performances. And when you're trying to shove your leftist politics down everybody's throat, it's just off-putting. It just distracts me from the show in general. What do you guys think? Do you think Jussie's telling the truth here? Do you agree with me? Or do you think he's just making everything up 100%? Do you have any other insider information that I didn't touch on here that you think people should be reminded of? What about Empire? Are you a fan of the show? How do you think all of this is going to affect the show? How do you think this is going to affect Fox? Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment down below. We'll keep the conversation going. But Jussie, man, come on, dude. You're a super talented artist. Don't let this identity politics stuff distract you from that. That's how you really get the money.